I hate playing Marksman champions. There's just something about the role that bothers me, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Marksmen are famous for their absurdly high damage output and carry potential, and equally so for their low survivability compared to the other roles. But what if I told you there was a Marksman with more range, damage, and survivability than any other? You already know who it is, it's in the thumbnail. Today we'll be talking about Ezreal. I believe that with a good player piloting him, Ezreal is one of the most broken champions in the entire game, and today I will demonstrate this to you in excruciating detail. I'll be showing you how he works, what his favorite items do, and explaining what is, in my opinion, his optimal build. What I will be recommending here will not be the most popular build on Ezreal, but just because something is popular doesn't mean it's actually good. First of all, let's talk about Ezreal's kit. Ezreal is not your typical marksman. While he has the characteristic damage output and range, he is a hybrid between a spellcaster and a marksman. His main damage source is his Q, Mystic Shot, a 1200 unit single target skill shot. It deals 120 plus 130% AD physical damage, and partially refunds all his ability cooldowns when it hits a target. Mystic Shot deals basic damage, and cannot critically strike, but it does apply lifesteal and on-hit effects at 100% effectiveness. Because his main damage source is an ability, Ezreal wants to build lots of AD, armor penetration, and ability haste, which makes his build more like that of an assassin than a crit marksman. His other abilities aren't as important for this video, but in short, his passive gives him stacking attack speed on ability hits, his W marks enemies and deals extra damage if he hits them, his E is a short range blink, and his ult is a long range skill shot. Without Sheen, Ezreal would not be a viable champion. His strength is highly reliant on its existence, and not building a Sheen item is basically inting. Sheen is an epic item costing 900 gold. It gives 10 ability haste and has the unique passive Spellblade, which, after casting an ability, grants your next auto attack an extra 100% base AD physical damage on hit. It builds into 4 items: Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, Iceborne Gauntlet, and Lichbane. The first 2 are the only Sheen items worth building on Ezreal, and each have their own use cases. Sheen items are essential on Ezreal because of an interaction with Mystic Shot. The cast activates Spellblade, and since Mystic Shot applies on-hit effects, Spellblade is immediately consumed if you hit your target. An early Sheen will spike your damage immensely during laning phase, and by the time you get to late game, the cooldown of Q will be about the same as that of Spellblade. This interaction means Sheen items are an essential on Ezreal, and make him a viable non-crit marksman. While people tend to stack as much ability haste as possible on Ezreal, there is a limit to how useful this is. Above 50 haste, the cooldown of Q is shorter than that of Spellblade. Casting Mystic Shot off cooldown actually reduces your DPS, since not every cast gets the extra damage from Spellblade. To get that DPS back, you need to wait for Spellblade to come off cooldown. While it's not actively harmful to build more than 50 ability haste, since you have other abilities that benefit, it's preferable to build more damaging items instead. There are several items that are good on Ezreal due to their stat profiles and unique interactions. Muramana, the completed version of Manamune, has a passive that gives on-hit damage and extra damage on abilities. Mystic Shot's short cooldown allows you to apply this damage very frequently, making it very gold efficient on him. The Fatality items, Serilda's Grudge and Lord Dominic's Regards, give Ezreal AD and % armor pen. Serilda's gives ability haste and better utility with the slow on its passive, Bitter Cold, and LDR is more of an anti-tank purchase, with its passive Giant Slayer. It got buffed in patch 14.6, so now it does more raw damage, but at the cost of less utility. Spear of Shojin has a similar stat profile to Trinity Force, and has the passive Focused Will, which gives ramping ability damage. Focused Will works on Mystic Shot, giving Ezreal a decent damage boost late game. Voltaic's Cyclosword is a standard lethality item, but what makes it special on Ezreal is its passives. Cyclosword is an energized item, which gives stacks when moving and attacking. When at 100 stacks, your next auto attack triggers an on-hit effect depending on the specific item. Galvanize increases the charging rate of energized through dashes and blinks, synergizing with Ezreal's E. And Firmament gives a burst of damage and a slow on hit after charging up energized, which applies as an on-hit effect on Mystic Shot. Since this slow can be applied at long range, it helps Ezreal start fights and set up his other skill shots. And of course, there are the Sheen legendaries, Trinity Force and Essence Reaver. Triforce is a more forgiving item to build, but its unnecessary stats and lack of late game scaling make it a somewhat lackluster item. Essence Reaver, while over 400 gold cheaper, gives much more AD and has a Spellblade that scales with bonus AD. In my eyes, this makes Essence Reaver the better option. If you have an Ornn on your team, it may be better to build Triforce, since it can be upgraded into the masterwork item Infinity Force. If you really want to build Essence Reaver anyway, Shojin's Resolve is a good masterwork item for Ezreal. The build I suggest for optimal gameplay is Essence Reaver, Lucidity Boots, Muramana, Cyrilda's Grudge, Voltaic Cyclosword, Yomu's Ghostblade, then Spear of Shojin to replace boots. The first 3 items are a good core, and the others are for utility and survivability. The order the items are built in is not as important after Cyrilda's, but I think this order works best. Of course, the utility items can be switched out for other things like Serpent's Fang, depending on the game. An especially good item to substitute in is Zhonya's Hourglass. Zhonya's is an excellent anti-burst item, and the AP isn't totally wasted on him, thanks to all his other abilities having AP scaling. There is an alternative to the standard Ezreal build, which involves Navori Quickblades. I've done the maths. In terms of raw DPS, the crit build far outstrips the standard one. Taking this at face value would be a mistake, however. To get this high damage, you need to be fighting tankier targets with high HP and armor. This build does give you stronger auto attacks, but that ignores Ezreal's primary strength, his ridiculous range. If you wanted to focus on auto attacks, you should have picked Ashe. The most common first 3 items on Ezreal are shown on screen, but like I said before, just because something is popular doesn't make it good. Most builds agree on Essence Reaver into Muramana, but differ on the 3rd item. The most popular builds have Spear of Shojin, Navori Quickblades, Cyrilda's Grudge, and Frozen Heart build 3rd. By comparing the damage outputs of these builds, we can see that Cyrilda's Grudge does the most damage by far. Shojin and Quickblades do about the same damage, though Shojin gives much more useful stats than Quickblades does. You could make an argument for Shojin 3rd because of the ability haste and health, but a good marksman shouldn't need health items to function. I'm not even going to explain why I don't like Frozen Heart, since that should be pretty obvious. It's a fine defensive item, but you're meant to be a spellcaster marksman hybrid, not a bruiser. Cyrilda's 3rd is the best of the meta builds for damage output, and by far my preferred build. You can switch out Cyrilda's for LDR, which will help you kill tanks faster, but you lose out on the slow, which is very helpful for landing your skill shots. The best keystone rune currently is PTA, but I like First Strike for the more passive lanes. Ezreal is a highly skill-reliant champion. He is harder to play than most auto-attackers, but he more than makes up for it with his insane range and damage. I recommend him for anyone looking to improve their mechanics and tactical gameplay, and especially for people who have never strayed from the classic crit marksman. Ezreal is one of my favorite marksmen for these reasons, and his popularity shows a lot of people agree with me. Try him out, just don't blame me when you get one shot, you're still an ADC after all. In this video, I used a Google Sheet to calculate the damage output of various Ezreal builds. I'll put the link to the sheet in the description so you can give it a try yourself. It doesn't have every item in the game, just the ones I feel are realistic purchases for him. If you're still here, thanks for making it to the end. I was planning on making this my 1000 subscriber special, but you guys kind of ruined that plan for me by more than doubling the goal. Seriously though, thanks guys. I didn't think that these niche videos would be so appealing to so many people. Again, if you have any video ideas for me, leave them in the comments. Thanks again for watching.